First thing to say is the play is by Noel Coward. It was written in 1930 and it takes place in France. The two central characters are Amanda and Elliot. And when we first meet them in the play, they are married but not to each other, and they are honeymooning in rooms next to each other in the same hotel in Deauville. We discover at the beginning of the play that actually Amanda and Elliot have been married previously. And that they got divorced some 5 years before, very acrimoniously. And throughout the first scene of the play, first act of the play, they discover, first off, that they are next door to each other on this hotel, and then that they are still in love. So the first act ends with them running away together.
I have to say, most characters, I try and find out who they are inside me. You can't always do that. I suppose with Amanda, I'm having to think of what the shape is and what the time would have been and how I would go into that shape of her. But she's also, I think, every woman in that in a relationship, she speaks her feelings. She doesn't harbour anything. Everything's out.
Elliot is married to Sybil, but then on his honeymoon happens to bump into his ex, and the rest is history, really. She's irresistible to him in a kind of push-me-pull-y way. They're irresistible to each other, but or can't live with each other either.
Well, Victor has only known Amanda for 4 months, Amanda being one of the central characters of the play. And they've had a bit of a whirlwind romance. Victor is a bit of a stuffed shirt, I suppose, in some ways, but he's a thoroughly decent chap. And he loves Amanda very much, but he wants to keep her very defined. She's quite a wild creature, and it occurs to him actually fairly early on in the play that actually he's really quite out of his depth.
The character I'm playing in Private Lives is a lovely girl called Sybil. She's 25. She has just got married to Elliot and it's their honeymoon night. She's a really interesting character to play because she has a huge journey in the play. And at first she comes across, I think, as a slightly fluffy maybe, and she's not what you expect.
I think traditionally an author would write in a character like Louise for comic relief, but this is Coward and the play is hilarious. So I think Louise is there because she is normal.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm in the Nottingham Playhouse Wardrobe department. I'm getting together the costumes for Private Lives. Each actress, is a different shape, and it's really nice to be able to, especially with the 1930s style, it's nice to make them look good. We've been very lucky this year to be able to use some of our period shoes, for instance. So each lady has got a period shoe, and that's quite nice because just that feel of knowing that you're wearing something in the 1930s.
The challenges for Private Lives, I suppose the big one is making an opulent Parisian 1930s set within a budget, so keeping a tight budget and making everything look wonderfully expensive and new. So that's the big challenge of this show, which I hope we've done.
Things are very big. It's working out where you can paint them and how you can paint them. And so, for instance, with this one, the set was put up at the workshop and it was painted in situ in the workshop. But because this is at the very back and it's seen through windows, and consequently you won't see the whole lot of it anyway, you only see parts of it, you can get away with a lot. So really all I've done with this is I've just put in the tonal, how the tones work, and colours and tone. I've filled it in and I'm putting a little bit of detail on, but there's no point putting lots of detail on because it won't be seen.
It's that weird thing that when you're listening to it, you're really drawn in and you're laughing, and then you have that moment of going, oh, I do that. Oh, and that's really enjoyable. I think it's a wonderful night out, a brilliant play.
People fall in love still, and Private Lives and Coward will always be relevant until people stop falling in love and stop having those crazy emotions that make them do crazy things.
Suffice it to say, it's got songs, dance and fights.